Today, Fun with Flowers and Jay is brought to you by Brandon Street Wholesale Florist.
Welcome to the world of flowers. I'm Jay Schwanke. I've spent my entire life surrounded by flowers. As a fourth-generation florist, flowers have been a part of my daily life for as long as I can remember. Now I'm on a mission to share my knowledge and love of flowers with everyone I meet. Growing, picking, arranging, designing, and sharing. It's all fascinating to me because I love flowers. Anything flowers and everything flowers. Welcome to Fun with Flowers and Jay. Today on Fun with Flowers and Jay, I have James Lutke in the studio, and we're making willow swans. So James, tell us about yourself and what you do.
Well, I'm a multimedia artist. I play with twigs and wire and natural product. Do a little landscaping, a little painting, a little sculpting, and certain flower arranging as well.
So now, these birds
Yes.
led to a big exposure for you because the White House contacted you to make birds for their Christmas trees.
Yes, they did. Last fall, actually, I got an email asking me if I'd be interested in making some tree toppers for the White House Christmas.
I was sitting watching the White House Christmas Story on network TV, and all of a sudden your face was on there. So tell us about the whole experience. Tell us about that.
Well, it was a really unique experience. I mean, to tell you the truth, Jay, when I got that email, I had only had internet for about 2 months to my house. I had just gotten a computer. I had just gotten the internet. So when I had an email that said, would you be interested in making pieces for the White House? At first, is this a joke? You know, who's sending me a joke? But I answered the email. They said they would like some tree toppers made, peacocks specifically, natural material. And then they asked me if I'd make a dove for the military tree.
Wow. Okay, so James, you're going to teach me how to do this.
We are. We're going to make the neck and the head of the swan.
Okay.
So we have some beech branches here.
Okay.
And some white pine cones.
Okay.
This will be actually the head.
Okay.
And then we'll use some wire and bind up the neck and make the swan. I'm going to suggest that we take maybe about 10 to 12 inches off the bottom of these branches.
Okay.
We can always cut off some later too. Okay. So you're just going to take your branches and group them together.
Okay.
I like to use about 6 to 7 branches. And you cut the branches when they're fresh, they're green, so that they have some flexibility to them.
Okay.
And then it will dry into the position that we put it in.
All right.
All right, so for this project, we're going to use a wire. It's a steel wire, and I like to use wire that's about 18 to 20 gauge for this type of project because it's strong and flexible.
Okay.
So you're going to start by just attaching the wire around the base.
Okay.
And attach it to itself.
Like that.
Correct. Make sure you have a nice twist
Okay.
on there.
Okay.
And I don't know if you're left or right-handed.
I'm right-handed. but
Okay,
that
so
doesn't
I would
always mean
say
anything.
I would say hold the wire with your right hand because you want more control.
Okay.
Okay, and then you're just going to start winding down the length of the branches, keeping the wire a little taut if you can, because if you remember, these are green branches and then they will dry, so they will shrink. So we want to make sure this is tight. And, you know, keep your wraps, a couple inches apart, an inch apart or so. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect.
Okay.
So you will bind until you're pretty close to the end, about this far from the end. So this will be my length of neck here on the bird.
Okay.
Okay, so about this point, this is where we're going to add in the head. And so for the head, we're going to use this white pine cone. I'm going to have you do 2. So we're going to just open up our little bound branch area here. Bring the branches around them like this. Then you will continue to bind over this.
And that gives the shape of the head.
It gives the shape of the head and gives some bulk in through there.
Perfect.
So we've come to the other side.
Right.
And now we have to kind of determine the length of our bill here before we go too crazy. So given you want to keep it within scale, bill length of the swan is usually about 3/4 of the head. So you can kind of plan it that way.
Okay.
And then what we're going to do when we're doing the bill is we're going to go even tighter with our binding.
Oh, okay.
And our wire's going to be closer together because we want to really create that dark silhouette of a bill that a swan would have.
So we're using the mechanics as part of the artistic.
Yeah.
So banding, we're going close together with those.
You're going closer together with it, and you're going to be coming back. So if you miss a spot or two, don't worry. You come to the length of your bill.
Okay.
So keeping that wire tight, yeah, you're just going to trim it off a little bit, maybe a little ahead because you can always cut back later if you need to.
Cool.
And then you're going to be using the wire and just coming back down the whole length of the piece. Again, in the bill area, we're going to keep it a little bit tighter. We're going to do more of a banding. And then when we get back down to the rest of the body, we can just do a more typical bind. We don't have to be as close together.
Okay. So I'm going to come all the way back down to the other end.
All the way back down to the other end, and then twist it off, connecting to the,
I'm going to cut
you
my
left
wire.
a lead piece, perfect.
Leave a lead piece.
And then you'll twist this together, and I just want to make a note that when you're twisting, if you keep your wire open and twist together, the twist goes down, and thus giving you a better hold instead of up the wire.
That's
Beautiful.
a great tip.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then always make sure you bend that twisted piece back into the wood so that you don't catch your hand on it later.
Perfect.
So here I'm just going to clean up just a little bit any of the parts of the neck that I want to clean up just a little bit. Now this is the top of the head, right? And the bill. So with that determination in mind, we're going to bend these babies a little bit. We want that swan, and I'll show you a quick tip.
Okay.
The knee.
Really?
If you don't have any strength, use your knee. And you can hear those fibers breaking in there, and that's okay. They're going to stay in there because of the wire. When I'm bending the neck or deciding how the neck is going to be, I over-exaggerate the bend because as it dries, it'll stay more in that position.
I get it.
So, like, I may want the neck to do this, but when I dry it, I'm going to do this to it. So then when I release it, it'll stay like that.
You bend it over your knee. I just am afraid I'm going to break it, but I'm not.
You're not. Look, you can hear those fibers breaking.
Yeah. That's very cool.
It.
When I look at your style, it's just so beautiful and so natural, and you can tell that it comes from within.
I think, well, it's really, it's no different than painting to me or any of the other creative things. There's balance, there's color, there's line, there's form. You're just using a different medium. Instead of oil paint, I've got flour.
Right.
You know, and it can be dimensional, which is great. And I'll tell you, you know, my mentors, the way they have taught me was really by mimic. So I was never told I can't do this or I can't do that. You know, I should do this or I should do that, or I'm suggested, you know, just to make the arrangement proper. But I was never really told no. So there have been no guidelines for me.
Okay, so now this is the next step.
This is the next step.
But there's several steps here.
There's a few steps there.
Okay.
So we did the beautiful necks.
Right.
Now I've taken the neck and just attached it to a piece of 2x4 that was scrap laying around my house. Then using a little chicken wire, stapled a piece of chicken wire to either side, rolled it in kind of a heart shape, as you can kind of see here, creating the wings and back to the tail, and then stuffed it with newspaper. I've also stuffed this with like your plastic grocery bags. You know, I'm always looking for a use to get rid of those things. So simple, and the only reason we really stuffed the chicken wire is because we're going to glue moss on here, and it gives a little something extra for the moss to hold. And it's lightweight. I did take the liberty of using a few tips and just creating a couple of extra bound curls, the very same technique that we did with the neck.
Just tinier.
Just tinier, and just as a little extension to carry the woodland theme through, and they're fun, aren't they?
It is. It's
All
really
right.
pretty.
So, all right, so we're gonna throw some moss on this guy,
Okay.
and using a little spray glue
Okay.
and some super moss here. We're just gonna get all those areas. We're gonna even lay moss down the middle of it, because what
Okay.
we're really kind of creating here with this piece is a vessel, and it's a vessel that could be used for many things.
Right.
We're gonna do a little flower power to it because, well, it's Flowers with Jay, right?
right, yeah.
So that's really kind of the process right there. We've got our moss and twig swan.
It's beautiful.
So, what's your favorite thing about working with flowers?
I love that each day, or each time I approach it, it's different. There's a different approach to it. Whether the event is different, the product's going to be different. A lot of times I'm exposed to new product that I've never seen before.
Oh, wow.
Because I'm not in a spot where flowers are constantly coming in. So it's always exciting to me, these different proteas and things that are on the market. I love this.
All right, so James, why do you think flowers are important?
Because I think flowers bring a sense of joy to people, a sense of life. The color alone is enough to make you dance and feel good. But who does not like some fresh flowers at their house? I mean, I try to keep something fresh, whether it's picked from my garden or whether I've gone to a local store to purchase something. I like it. It makes me feel good. It calms me down.
Right.
Puts a smile on my face, gives me a sense of serenity.
Two beautiful swans and just beautiful flowers in so many different respects.
Yay, we did good.
We did awesome.
Awesome.
Cool. So then, do you have a favorite flower?
Not necessarily a favorite flower. You know what? I'm a foliage man.
Okay, so what's your favorite foliage?
Anything big and tropical and dark, and I love all these tropical leaves that come in, the philodendrons and the different. I think I could make an arrangement just out of foliage and be very happy.
Oh, that's wonderful.